look at his candle, and which his candle is going to show, you know, the man's spirit. That's why the Lord say he searched the inward parts of a man's belly through the candle, man. You see? I didn't have this precept, so that's why I got to go and look at it for it. Yeah, Proverbs 20 and 27. The spirit of a man is the candle of Yahweh. You see? So even his whole spirit is a fire. All right, you know, but it is water. All right, so we're baptized by water and fire, but ultimately, okay, that fire that's in a man forbear him not to stay. All right, basically shows, you know, his temperament for the Lord, man. You know, now you can't measure a brother's spirit because he might be a more reserved brother. All right, that don't mean, you know, he cold, you know, or lukewarm. It's just his overall attributes and serving the Lord is more reserved and relaxed. But that man's spirit is on fire just as much as yours. Now you got some other brothers that project it outwardly, all right, and their reflection is seen, you know, for their fire, their fiery spirit, their lively, or whatever the case may be, all right. But that don't even make them a man of the Lord, all right. So I'm gonna read. It says, the spirit of a man is the candle of Yahweh, searching all the inward parts of the belly. You see, which the belly is the mind or the spirit. All right. So the Lord have to light your fire, man. Okay. You have to light that fire in you. All right, and keep your zeal ignited. Okay. But this is the attributes of a cool brother. See, not warm. You know, and the Lord say, look, I'd rather you not be cold, not lukewarm, but rather cold than hot. Cool is just an inch of cold or freezing. All right, in a direction in which the men of the Lord going. All right, they're heating up. I mean, when you look at the prophecies in the earth, are not they on fire? You know, you see, are not things heating up? So the rather you be cold, all right, which means basically, all right, you frozen in the spirit, man. You see, it says moderately cold, not warm, but usually not as severe as cold. Yeah, many men would not plow because of the cold, man. All right, now I'm using that as an analogy. All right, but it's not just the cold weather, but it's the plowing in which, all right, if you don't have the spirit or the genetic energy, all right, or the fiery energy, all right, to do this work, you won't plow because of the reason of the cold. You see, it says the sluggard will not plow by the reason of the cold. Now, that's talking literal snow or whatever the case may be, but it refers to that person as a sluggard. All right. So being cold is the same as being a sluggard. All right. Therefore shall he beg and harvest and have nothing. All right. So usually the harvest comes at a particular time. All right. But first and foremost, we just dealing with that cold, calculated, cool brother. All right. You got it's equivalent to this cold. It's equivalent to cold, man. All right. It says it is. Figuratively, a person's perturbed, all right, which means untroubled. It's troubling times, so this truth do give us a foundational, rest, but it's troubling times. So with your mind knowing that trouble is at hand, all right, then your senses got to be heightened to where you what? Reading, you looking, you paying attention, you watching, man. A person not troubled is a relaxed person, man. You see? It says not excited or heated by passions. You see? A man's zeal, all right, ignites and moves his spirit. all right, which reflects his heart back to whatever it is his assignment, all right, is going to be what? Going before him, man. All right? He's going to be able to acknowledge the thing in which he has set his sight and goals on, all right? He's attacking it, all right? When you get in the game, all right, and it's time to perform, all right, if you're playing some type of sports or whatever, Jake, like, once I warm up, or I need to heat up, right? Jake got to stretch and, you know, do those things of getting in the game. Well, over here, all right, we got to already be ready when we check in the game, man. Right? You see? That means we're staying ready, all right? Being cool means you got to get ready, okay? And it can go down at any time. At any time we could be pilgrims up on the earth, man. All right? Let's get into a couple precepts, you know, and again, like I say, Lord willing to be edifying, all right? I'll just pull out the signs of a man who's just a cool brother, right? Which again, is something wrong with being cool? We about to see after this lesson, right? Like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with being cool. Now for the Lord, look, 777. Like, you gotta be complete. You know, it said the Lord is not looking for a perfect or a good man, all right? For what? An obedient man. You see? This is Sirach 6 and 7. I'll start at I'll start at 5. Sweet language will multiply friends. Now we got the language of we got the holy language, a set apart language. All right. We got a set apart language according to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So you know when we come together and congregate in the Hebrew, and you know we got the language of the conversation of the heavens. All right. You know men tend to establish themselves with a liking, all right, or you know, a spiritual connection with a brother, you know, depending upon his spirit, all right. So again, and then you might sometimes overlook certain attributes that actually require truth, all right, because you may be taken away because the brother may have similarities just like you, all right, and then you be taking in those things and not judging the chief matter, all right, which is this, you know, do this guy display the fruits of the spirit? You know, is he going towards the Lord, or do he seek to please me fleshly? All right, you know, give gifts, different things, which that, you know, that don't make you ungodly, all right, but how do this brother react and respond to the fact of what he should be doing through the spirit, man? All right, technically that's what counts. You see, is the brother doing the work? Is he showing the signs of a godly man? All right, and that's, you know, that's pretty much, you know, what your antenna should be up for. All right, not looking for a man who, you know, just want to have a good time, just drinking and eating, and you know, different things like that. Nothing wrong with that, but at the end of the day, we're looking to build relationships up that are spiritual, man. All right, then comes the drinking and eating. You see? Okay? It says, and the fair speaking tongue will increase kind greeting. So as you kindly greet, you know, brothers may say things that even, not only is the brother a match to your spirit, but even his spirit, all right, and the way he think and relate to things, you know, might even coincide with yours, which is even more of a can be a tool of Satan, because what it can do, it can take you out of the way of now judging the brother, all right, charity and those things which bring the abundance of godly works. You see, it says be in peace with many, right? Nevertheless, but one counselor of 1,000. All right, so you can't even be a counselor, or in a council or connected with a man that don't have the same counselor as you, which is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. All right, the same goals. All right, the same spirit towards what we're trying to achieve. All right, one spirit, one faith, one baptism. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him. You see? So, prove the man first. Don't acknowledge him before he speak. Oh, that brother, that brother do good lessons, or whatever, and you just think he a man of the Lord, man. All right, have some goddamn discernment, man. All right, walk with the man, learn him, figure him out, whatever you need to do, but you can't just jump the gun because a cool brother, and think he's a man of the Lord. Again, the Lord ain't looking for cool brothers. He's looking for righteous men. Not even looking, all right? He have assigned righteous men to the ministry. You may have a man that don't even offend you. What one would say, man, that brother cool as hell, man. Like, how the hell he fell away? Because it ain't about being cool, it's about being fervent in spirit, man. Which is two totally different things, all right? So credit goes back to the word trust. All right? So you have to be able to trust a man, all right, that's a friend. David say he's a companion of all those that fear the Lord. And through that fear, the wisdom is going to compel that man to show you his works to the Heavenly Father. All right? Not just by faith, but with his works too. All right? And then every man is a man of the Lord until he show himself not to be. Right? So you got to still give a man a benefit of the doubt as you was given the benefit of the doubt, man. All right? Because some situations, men may start off rocky, man. I think this is God, nigga. And then that brother may end up being the most spiritual brother in the camp. So, that's still a balance to judging, all right, the temperament of a cool brother, right? Remember, the ministry is about spiritual brothers, not cool brothers. You see? Because some brothers, hey, may not be the liking, all right, to a brother. I did that. I did a video on that a while ago. All right. Everybody not gonna be liked in the ministry. But if a man is upright, all right, he may be stern or whatever the case may be. Hey, you gotta deal with that, brother. Just how we gotta deal with the forward. All right. This is how we gotta deal with the gentle. Okay. But most of all, it says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first. Be not hasty to credit him. Okay? For some man is a friend for his own occasion, right? Could be, most of the time you got a cool brother. It's what you can relate to him as and for what you go out to do. All right, he may be a cool brother to go out with, different things like that, but is that really what the ministry about? Technically, those things get done through unity, different things like that. But technically, all right, when Yahushua came, was he pushing on, hey, y'all brothers need to be cool with each other? No, he's pushing charity, all right, tearing with brothers if they miscarry, exhortation, all right. These are some of the things that you have to look for in a brother, all right, to measure if he's a man of the Lord. Now, we don't know who's a man of the Lord. That's the perfect part about it, all right? But we're putting on as the elect, and like you say, we're growing in trust or crediting each other through experiences, all right, through adversity with one another, all right? These things allow the picture to become more clear, all right, if a man is walking according to the alignment of righteousness, man, through the spirit. You see? And these things separate the men of the Lord from a brother it count avail a faithful, all right, which a what? A true man of the Lord, friend, and his excellency is in value. There you go. Okay, you see? So it says, a faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord shall find him. So all the men that's going to fear the Lord, going to find each other, man. All right? That's why you got to pray to the Lord to direct thy way in truth. Because you still need to see things and discern things through skill of wisdom, all right? And ultimately, the Rakakwadash assisting you, all right, to be able to make these type of proper judgments, man. No one said it's easy, right, to do it, but altogether, you want to make sure you at least aligning, measuring the things which the Lord said of a man to do in the scriptures on the man that you see as a cool brother, man, right? That's all I'm saying here, okay? Well, look, verse 17 says, whoso fears the Lord shall direct his friendship aright. And it's a rocket, as I mentioned, all right, it says, pray to the Lord that he direct thy way in truth. Even the men that's laboring amongst you, as you pray for them, you got to pray that they're a brother and not a hoe-ass nigga. Because a cool brother going to end up being a hoe-ass nigga, man. All right? If he don't abide in the day of your afflictions and trouble, he going to end up a hoe-ass nigga, man. He going to end up cold-hearted. You see? Meaning his spirit was filled, which means cold in Spanish. Yeah, you know, that's neither here nor there. But you know, Jake is frio. You see? Okay? What else we have here? All right? See? That's something else. Dealing with the great men, man. Let's get this in first address to show this is not a ministry of drinking and eating. Because that's what we constitute most brothers as being cool. You know? We like some of the same things in life. We might like some of the same women. You know, when you talk about that. But for the most part, most brothers constitute a brother of being a cool brother because he drink and eat with them. Alright? Or he do those things which is pleasurable to the flesh, mostly. Right? Or pleasing to the brother he's dealing with. Right? So let's see what that does. So rock one, even a drink could cause men to, you know, fight against each other. Well, first Edris 3. First Edris 3 and 17, and it reads, and he said unto them, this is when the king was declaring that his men give him a pair. You can read it, all right? He said unto them, declare unto us your mind concerning the writings, then begin a first who has spoken the strength of wine, all right? So let's deal with wine. Now, friends mostly is enjoying with what? As they come to the table with wine, you know, which we're friends of bread, which is the man of heaven, technically, all right? And that wine or that blood of Yahweh Shai, all right? But ultimately, we should be friends in bread. And that's why, you know, when brothers did in the ancient time, some of the customs, the ancient customs of old, was the what? You know, as you take a man in, you feed him or bring him to the table, you give him bread, all right? Which is a testament or a token, all right, of your spirit towards that man, all right? And it was more than just at the table you what? You eat and you talk, all right? But it's a acquaintance, a back of a uniting through family, all right? You know, familiarizing yourself with the brother and ultimately showing what? Good gesture, all right? Or charity, okay? Okay. people got their companies took from right under them, all right, because they thought their business partner doing business with them so long, they was friends, so they just signing papers and different things like that. And you know, your friend underhanded you and made you sign the company over to him because you trusted him, all right? So you got to trust a godly man, right? Versus a cool man, man. Okay? Can we get the other one? We jump to 22 and 23, which is the point. And when they are in their cups, talking about the wine, they forget their love, both to friends and brethren, and a little after draw swords. So, you know, if you cool with a brother in drinking only, all right, in drinking, not saying that it's unlawful, all right, but if a brother just cool with the drinking in the ministry to drink only, and cool with you because you like drinking, all right, he's seeking out brothers who like to drink, a brother who just like to cook and eat, or different things like that. If that's only his spirit only, all right, this is what can happen. A little after they draw swords, they forget their love, the brothers, and that's how a lot of the situations come about where Jake have mishaps and fallouts, because it's like, oh, that me and that brother was cool. You know, me and that brother children play together, or whatever the case may be. You can't forget the whole goal of the ministry, man. You know, it's the what? Be a righteous brother, not a cool brother. But when they are from the wine, they remember not what they have done. You see? So, you know, you gotta understand the measure in which things are taken and done, man. All right, in this ministry. See, I ain't gonna beat the point home. You know, I just wanted to get into this. You know, I found it interesting or something. You know, hey, we still gotta be aware of it, man. That, you know, the ministry is deadly serious, man. All right, you know, brother, or me and that brother go out together. Okay, cool. Now, that brother do something to offend the ministry. You're not gonna speak about it. You're not gonna say nothing because you're cool. You see? But you see how it'll hinder your judgment? All right? You know, and then brothers be like, well, what the hell you was doing? Man, I thought I could just tell the brother this, and then he didn't, you know, the brother didn't carry out maybe what he said. You know, so now that make both parties at fault. All right? So you gotta, again, being a cool brother will make you hinder your judgment, in which you can't do any unrighteousness in judgment. You see? Let me get out of here, man. You know, I feel like the point is big. All right. This is Acts 15 and 36. This is an account where two righteous men we know, all right, deal with this thing, and they can be separated. All right. Acts 15 and 36. And some days after, all right, start at 35. Paul also and Barnabas continued in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of Yahweh with many others also. And some days after, Paul said unto Barnabas, let us go again and visit our brethren in every city where we have preached the word of our power, and see how they do. And Barnabas determined to take them John, whose surname was Mark. And the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder from one the other. All right? So, chief friends, men walking in the ministry, can have a disagreement, right? And it can get sharp, right? When you ain't, you know, sometimes brothers, you know, have a disposition and, you know, they viewpoint on things. But again, these are two righteous men, you know, real true companions in the Lord. All right, because you're gonna see what they did to actually show, all right, the attributes in which they choose how they serve the Lord, man. Right? It says that it was the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder from the other. So they split up. Now you go look at the history of Barnabas and Paul. They was bringing men to the ministry, teaching and walking together, and, you know, doing their thing. All right. together, and then they, this can happen, right? And so Barnabas took Mark and sailed unto Cyprus. And Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren into the grace of God. And he went through Syria, and Cecilia confirming the churches, so they both still went did the work of the Lord. Right? You see that? So, friends gonna do the work of the Lord through adversity. All right? When men miscarry, all right, they gonna rebuke their brother. Okay? So, that ain't you don't want a cool brother. You want a brother that feared the Lord, man. You see? So, I don't want to rock this out. Was edifying, man. Till next time, I'll see you. Shalom.